Hey friends, Liz here. Thanks for joining me. We're gonna do about just a 5-minute kind of tutorial, maybe 10 minutes. I can never stick to 5, I'm kind of long-winded, but about something that is kind of close to home right now with everything going on in the world, fear. And what's one of the poses that causes more fear than anything else besides chair pose? Handstands. So I wanted to just take a moment here to share some of my little tidbits if you're working on this at home, if you have some wall space. If you don't worry about it, you don't need it to. But I just want to go through some of the techniques and things about the body before we even kick up into any handstands, and then some little things that you could do from home to play with them as you work on them, since we're not in studio spaces at the moment. So I used to teach a handstand workshop that had all to do with when I was a pilot and flying. And so all the parts of the body were corresponding with different kind of things of flight, right? So our gaze was like the stick, like how we fly, right? Same with the torso, right? Like if we can keep the torso steady throughout handstands, that is our control of direction. Okay, I would talk about the fingertips as your brakes, right? So if your little fingertips are not moving in your handstand and they're just flat like this versus like got a little bit of a grip to them, you're probably not quite having the awareness in the right parts of the body to someday hold it completely steady, right? Because the fingertips are really, this is what's happening in handstand when I'm moving, right? Because you're about to go over, so you put more weight in the fingertips, then you're about to fall out of it, so then you put more weight into the base of the palms. So there's this constant little dance going on in my palms and in my fingertips with that little bit of like a grip onto the earth, so that you can play with that distribution. So I call those the brakes, okay? And then I call the legs, super important, the throttle. It's your powerhouse, right? And I don't just mean kicking. So I know that we talk about like using that top leg as like the lever to like throw us up there. I think about the legs more as the top leg drawing you up and sucking you so much up to the sky because of how strong it is, and reaching up that the bottom leg can't help but just come up and join it. Okay, I'm going to show you some of these ideas in a moment. But so that top leg is so strong and reaching up that throttle, that power, that afterburner, if you want to call it, that the second leg can't help but just wants to be like, I want to join that guy. He's going places. So the legs, the throttles. Something that I've started to incorporate more now into my handstand workshops is also this idea of space. So we have a couple concepts of gravity. Gravity's our friend, actually. Space, the space that's around our body when we're upside down or inverted or in any other kind of place, as well as the energy exchange between those two. So between the physical form that we're in, holding strongly with the, not just strength, but awareness, right? Because when I talk about strength, or the fingertips, I'm not just talking about brute strength of gripping. It's an awareness factor of knowing where energy should be flowing to catch yourself in these poses. Then I have the second one is space. I like to think of space as it is not empty. All right, there is actually something that when you are kicking up into handstand, that top leg, it is playing, literally reaching and connecting to all of the space around it. So when you're reaching those top toes up towards the sky, it is grabbing onto something. It's not just hanging out, right? Like it's doing something, it's interacting with space, it's not empty. So then that second leg again just wants to come up and join it. And then the last one again is that kind of energy exchange, that energy just doesn't end at the limits of our physical form. We can feel it around us. We notice when we walk into a room with people that we're like, oh, they got some good energy, or ooh, they're in a negative space today, right? You can feel it when you're around people. Now, okay, whether we're gonna get into all the details of the doctor stuff about like what's actually quantitatively being able to be read, I won't go there. I'm just talking about that simple fact that you can feel energy around somebody with how they're interacting with you and with the space around them. So those three concepts, the physical form and gravity, we've got something always going down so something can go up, space around you, and then the last one is that energy exchange. And then we have all these little pilot ideas that I was talking about, fingertips, the body is the stick, and then the legs as the throttles. So something I talk about in terms of the body when I start to set up, we're going to talk about the setup first of a handstand. And then we'll play with some ideas with how to do it. We'll show you some. The serratus muscles, those are like those Jackie Chan muscles you've seen that have like, with people that are really jacked, it looks like the finger lines that are like coming around the sides. It's a little bit lower than like the lats. I'm not talking about this guy that's like kind of underneath. I'm talking a little bit lower on above the waist though. And I'm always thinking about that energy, and you can kind of start to activate it by, one of the ways is to, how do I want to do this? Take your arms in front of you, palms together, and try to press the elbows together. So hands together, squeeze the elbows together, and then shoulders are staying down the back so they're not creeping up, down the back, right? This little kind of pressure point. And you might start to feel a little bit of this energy to start to activate. If you're not feeling it from that, don't worry. There's other ways to activate it too. That's just one of the quick ways sometimes that you can kind of feel into it. So serratus muscles. And then again, those coordinate with the torso, right? With the stick, with where we're going. If we're wobbly through this part, we start to fall to the sides. We start to spin around, right? So I'm about to go put my hands on the mat, start to show you what I'm talking about, put it into context. Fingertips, breaks, arms, super straight. Nice and straight from the beginning. I'm not starting with bent elbows because then I'm already starting from a foundation that is not strong and grounded and can't give me the most with gravity. So I want to put gravity to my advantage here. Gravity to my advantage is arms straight so that I can use some of that, that stability of the anchoring to go back up. And then I'm going to talk about serratus. All right, ready? You with me? Okay, let's go over it. Hopefully you can still hear me. So when I'm setting up, hands. Now, before you even start to do handstands, I'd recommend, 30-minute warm-up of something. Some of the things that are really important are shoulder openers for handstands to chest, and also hamstrings. And I'm going to talk about why hamstrings are so important in terms of making handstands easier later on. So hands are going to come to the ground, using my little fingertips just to wiggle them around first, and then feel into your torso and see if you can kind of activate or bring some awareness into that area of the serratus. Now, when I have weight into one foot and the opposite leg, so now this leg is my powerhouse. This leg is my throttle. This leg is doing the work for me. So if my hamstrings are tight, this might be where I'm starting the day off, right? If I haven't warmed up, I've done anything else. If I've already had a practice, my hamstrings are a little bit looser, here I am. I'm already further towards the handstand simply by warming up my hamstrings and doing a practice prior. So for those of you that might want to pause here, go do a practice first before you start kicking in a handstand, recommend it. Otherwise, here we go. So the top leg is going to stay super straight. Remember, like as I talked about, it's going to like suck you up towards the sky. And then the bottom leg, I'm going to do with a little bend, okay? Hands down, gaze forward, arms straight, serratus engaged, top leg, my throttle, my strong guy is up there, really strong. Bottom knee is going to come up and into the chest. So top leg is going to do all the work, all right? He's going to lean, and I'm going to catch it. So this top leg's doing everything, right? He's the strong guy. He's reaching up to the sky and engaging with the energy up and above. Kick. Kick. This leg, do you see how straight he is? Up. Kick. Kick. All right. Option one, play with those, stick with those. Those are your friend. One other one that's kind of fun to do is clapping with your feet, okay? So I'm gonna come into kind of a down dog chip and take a couple claps. So it's gonna look like this. Here, arms straight, serratus. Shoulders are wrapping around, my gaze is slightly forward. I'm gonna bend, clap. All right, if you got one, maybe you do two. Clap, clap. You get two, maybe you do three. Clap, clap, clap. And then drop down to your knees. And try that again. And there's absolutely no point in doing that, except for when you think about clapping, you stop thinking about fear. Sometimes you think about clapping and you might find that you hold it a little bit longer or catch yourself off guard where you're not actually thinking of the handstand, you're thinking about clapping. One of the teachers that I've practiced with would call it like the monkey from Toy Story with like the cymbals, like that's what you're trying to do with your feet. All right, clap, clap, clap. Last thing I'm gonna offer today is against the wall. Don't get too close, okay? So I actually want you like 1.5 to 2 feet apart, away from the wall. What this is gonna allow you to do is too many of us get close to the wall, get our hands close to the wall. We go to kick up and the wall's right there. So we never get the practice of trying to catch ourselves. If you go over, sure, the wall's going to be there. But if you just kick up straight to the wall every time and then come off of it, never learn where that point is before you go too far, right? So I want you to start to come away from the wall. It's still there, I promise, it's still there. But see as if you kick up, you can find your own balancing point, and then if you go too far, you touch the wall, okay? If not, you come down. But take that space away from the wall. I'm gonna give you one little showing of that, and then we'll call it quits. Sorry, my butt's about to be towards the camera, just for a moment. So I'm gonna come, let's try it. Let's even measure. 1, 2, that's a good spot. 2. Now my hands are going down. Spinning around. Arms straight, fingertips. My little brakes are in place, serratus are engaged. Top leg, throttle's going up. Kick. Oh, there's the wall. Then I come back away and hold. All right, so I'm gonna do that again. I'm gonna go up, try and catch it myself. Oh no, I'm going over. Wall's still there. Then reach up. Don't come down. All right, have fun. I wish you safe practices at home. We'll be back around. I'm sure Johnny's gonna be doing some upside down stuff as well. And we'll see you soon. Namaste.